Let's begin by closing the eyes and settling into the mat. Letting the crown of the head rise up toward the ceiling, keeping the spine straight and the back vertical. Letting the shoulders relax and fall down the back just a bit. And focus on our breath. As you focus on the breath, choose a place where it's really easy to feel the effect of your breathing. That might be the nostrils, focusing on the air as it moves in and out of the body. It might be the stomach as the stomach expands and contracts. It might be the chest as the chest rises and falls. But find a place where you can focus on your breathing and simply breathe calmly, evenly. And recognizing that as you're sitting on your mat, focusing on your breath, you're also being present in the now. You're living in the current moment. When thoughts drift through the mind, as they're apt to do, they're often related to things that either have happened or that we anticipate might happen. We can recognize those thoughts, let them pass through the mind, and return back to the present moment. Open your eyes. Bring your hands behind your head, interlacing your fingers. Keep your elbows wide. Now we're going to make a simple movement here. Inhale. And when you exhale, bring the elbows forward as much as you can. Inhale wide. Exhale forward. Inhale wide. Exhale forward. Continue this motion, and as much as you can, keep it associated with your breath. Pull those elbows back really wide when they go back wide. And when they come forward, try and get them forward so much that they touch. I don't think you'll be able to do that. But in stretching those elbows back and forward, you might feel some stretching in both the front and back of the shoulders. So this is a nice, simple movement to loosen shoulders. The next time the elbows are wide, stop and bring the hands down by the sides. Now, I want to have us go through a bit more complicated flow, and we'll move through it. And then once we've got it down, we're going to associate it with the breath. Start by bringing the hands to heart center. Now, bring the hands back wide, elbows pull back. Now, send the hands out in front, bringing the palms together, interlacing the fingers. Then flip the palms and bend the upper back and head. At this point, your gaze is probably down toward the floor in front of your feet. Now, bring the gaze up to the fingertips and raise the palms up so they're facing the ceiling, and the gaze goes up with them. Release the hands, let the gaze come back to the front, and wrap the hands back behind the back, interlacing the fingers back there. You might be able to keep the hands off the floor, maybe not. Release the hands and bring them back to heart center. Now we're going to move through that motion again a little more fluidly before we associate it with our breathing. We begin with hands at heart center. Arms come back, elbows and shoulders pull. Hands come out in front, fingers interlace. We flip the hands forward, bend the head and upper back. Let the gaze come up to the fingers. Raise the fingers up as the gaze follows. Release the hands and bring the hands behind the back. Interlace the fingers, pull back. Release the hands, arms and hands come to heart center. All right, now we're going to try this with breathing. Before we do anything, take a nice deep inhale and a complete exhale. Okay, inhale, arms come back. Exhale, arms come forward, palms interlace. Inhale, palms flip, head comes down. Exhale, gaze goes to hands, palms come up. Inhale, hands come behind back. Exhale, hands come to heart center. Inhale, arms come back. Exhale, arms come forward, fingers interlace. Inhale, head comes down, palms flip. Exhale, palms come up towards ceiling. Inhale, palms behind back. Exhale, palms come to heart center. Now I'm going to do this again with the instructions for the arms, but without the inhale and exhale, and see if you can follow, keep your inhale and exhale with the movement. So begin without moving. Deep inhale. Complete exhale. Okay, I'll begin with inhale, arms come back. Arms come forward, fingers interlace. Fingers flip, head comes down. Gaze goes to hands, palms come up toward the ceiling. Hands release, come behind the back. Hands come back to heart center. One more time. Arms back. Hands forward, fingers interlace. Fingers flip, head bends. Gaze to the back of the hands. Hands rise up to the ceiling. Hands release, come behind the back. And end in heart center. Very good. Before we leave our seated position, let's start with the arms down by the sides. Raise the arms up. Arms are parallel, palms face. We twist to the left, right hand to left knee. Left hand behind the hips. Back is straight, crown of the head lifts up. Hand is just resting on the knee, not pulling. Twist is coming from the torso. We can feel a little bit of a twist in the low back. When we move into a position like this one, I often urge you to settle, to relax into the pose. But I also want you to focus on your breath. Make sure the breath is even and natural, rhythmic, not too fast. Arms go back up, palms face. We twist over to our right, left hand on right knee, right hand behind the right hip. Gaze can be back over towards that right shoulder. Once again, make sure that the spine is straight, that the crown of the head lifts up, that the twist comes from the abdominals, that you relax into the pose and focus on your breath. Even inhale, even exhale. And we come back to front, arms come up, hands come down to the sides, and we roll over onto our backs. Taking a moment here while we're down in a in a lying down position to let the body sink into the mat a little bit. Let the muscles relax. Feet fall away. Let's hug the knees into the chest. Hold them in as tightly as it's comfortable. Flex the feet. You have the option, if you choose, of rocking side to side. That often can provide some relief to the low back. If you're rocking, come to stillness and let both feet come to the mat. Knees stay bent. Arms are down by the sides. Very simple stretch here. I'm going to lift both arms up and over my head. My hands come back down close to the floor if they don't actually touch it. And then they're going to come back forward where the palms will be flat on the mat by my hips. Now I'm going to associate that with my breath. Inhale, arms go up and overhead. Exhale, palms come back down. Inhale, arms come up and overhead. Exhale, back. Now this time, see if you can make the inhale and the exhale slow enough that they last the entire time the arms are in motion. So inhale, exhale. If you can't quite do that, that's perfectly okay. Do the best you can. Continue moving through this motion, letting your inhale take your arms overhead, and your exhale, bring your arms by your side. Next time the arms come back down, stop. You may be noticing or experiencing or recognize as you think about it, that when you're associating your breath with the movement, it feels more like we are just in the present moment. Maybe not. Let's cross the right ankle over the left thigh. Send the arms away from the body in a T position or in cactus arms, whatever works for you this morning. Now let's begin by sending both knees over to the right, back to center, and then over to the left, back to center. Knees move to the right, back to center, and then to the left, back to center. Now we're going to associate that with our breath. Inhale, knees to the right. Exhale, back to center. Inhale, knees to the left, back to center. Continue moving the knees to the left with an inhale. Exhale, center. Inhale, right. Exhale, center. So continue letting your knees move in that side-to-side motion, letting the breath be associated with the movement. The speed at which you're breathing now has a big influence on the speed at which your legs are moving, the speed at which the motion is occurring. You might choose to slow down the breath and slow down the motion also. You might choose to have a big pause between the inhale and the exhale and hold the knees in that far position. The next time the knees come to center, stop. And let's do our reverse pigeon, our figure four pose. Reach the hands through the behind the left leg, interlace the fingers, and pull that left leg back up off the mat. Now, if that's too much for you today, you don't need to hold the leg. You can just raise that left foot off the mat a little bit, as long as you're able to hold that. And since we're in this position, we don't have any movement to associate our inhales and exhales with. So we want to just focus on having a nice, steady, rhythmic breathing. Release the left foot to the mat and then the right. Left foot, left ankle crosses right thigh. Hands again are out in T position or in cactus arms. We're going to begin here by sending both knees over to the left, back to center. Both knees go over to the right, back to center. This back and forth movement, as you can probably feel, puts a little twist in the spine each time we go to one side or the other. So it's a good movement for relaxing the spine. Associate, if you haven't already, inhale to the left, exhale center, inhale to the right, exhale center. And continue this movement, letting your breath be the guide. Next time the knees come to center, stop. Reach the hands through behind the right leg and pull that right leg back, loosening the left hip a little bit more. And again, if this is not in your practice this morning, feel free not to grab the leg, but to simply let the foot hover off the mat, whatever amount you can do today. Bring the right foot to the mat, then the left. Roll over onto one side and come spinning around up into our tabletop position. Let's stretch the feet a little bit. Curl the toes and shift the hips back, putting some weight in the toes and stretching the soles of the feet. Once again, because we're in a pose here where we're not moving, just check to see that your breath is even and natural. The length of the inhale is about the length of the exhale. If you choose to make one of them longer, make the exhale be longer. Come back forward into our tabletop. Let's move through some cat-cow. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the head into cow pose. Exhale, round the back, head drops, cat pose. Inhale, cow, belly drops, head lifts. Exhale, cat, back arches, head comes down. Continue moving through these two poses, letting your inhale take you to cow, and your exhale take you to cat. Consider letting the length of the breath guide the amount of time that you move into and stay in each pose. Next time you come from the cat to neutral, stop. Now I want you to make a really simple motion here that'll be good for the back and hips. All I want you to do is to turn your head and look to the left, like you're looking over your left shoulder. You don't have to look back really far. And as you do that, you might feel the hips kick out to the right just a little bit. Whether you feel that or not, kick those hips out to the right. So you're in a little bit of a twist here. Then come back to center and turn the head to the right and let the hips kick out to the left. Back to center. Inhale, gaze over to the left shoulder. Exhale to center. Inhale, gaze over the right shoulder. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, back center. Inhale, gaze over the left. Exhale, center. Inhale, right. Exhale, center. Continue this motion of turning and looking from side to side, letting your inhales guide you into turning or twisting, and your exhales bring you back to center. The next time you come from the right back to center, stop. We're going to move into child's pose. Bring the big toes together, knees far apart. Send the hips back toward the heels. Bring the head to the mat. Now, I'd like this to be an extended child's pose where you send the hands forward far enough that the elbows lift off the mat. That'll put a little extra stretch in the shoulders and the upper back. Once again, because we're not moving, we're simply in this pose. Let your breath be even. Equal length exhale and inhale. Come back up to tabletop and then bring the knees back so they're about hips width distance apart, and send the knees further back so you're in a low plank pose, a knee down plank. Keep your elbows pulled in tight as you lower yourself halfway down and then back up. Now that might not be in your practice today. If you can just bend your elbows a little bit and come down and then push back up, that's fine. One more time, lower down part way, push back up. And finally, keeping the elbows in close to the ribs, as slowly as you can, lower yourself all the way to the mat. Hands are under shoulders, feet go back long. Push down into the tops of the feet, letting the knees rise off the mat, and move into low cobra by lifting the head and chest. Now the neck is not bent especially here. The head is in line with the spine. This motion is coming from the low back. Your gaze is probably just near the top of your mat. Release everything down. Take a deep inhale, complete exhale. On your next inhale, come back up. Hold for a breath or two. And on your next exhale, come down. Now we're going to change this up a little bit. Send the hands away from the body. Now you might want to glance at your camera and look at what I'm doing. I'm on my fingertips. My elbows are bent, and my fingers, to the degree that I can get them, are facing forward. I feel like this is sort of a, I don't know, spider or insect type of a position. Now, I'm going to move into my low cobra again. Tops of the feet push into the mat. Head and chest rise up off the floor. I'm putting pressure on my fingers. I'm not trying to keep the fingers really light here, but I'm letting there be some pressure. Release, come back down. Let's come up one last time. Push the feet into the mat, knees come up, head and chest come up. Pressure in the fingers. And release. Bring the hands back under the shoulders. Push back into child's pose one more time. Toes together, knees wide. But this time, make it a relaxed child's pose. If you keep your arms in front, they don't need to go out very far. You have the option of bringing the arms back by the hands back by the ankles. And simply sink into this pose and relax. See if your hips can get any closer to your heels. Come back up into tabletop. Curl the toes and push the hips up and back into downward facing dog. Pedal out the heels. Come to stillness. Look forward between the hands and step as many steps as it takes to come into a forward fold. On your next inhale, come up to a flat back. We'll hold this pose for several breaths. On an exhale, fold forward. Bend the knees as deeply as you need to be able to relieve any discomfort in the low back or the backs of the legs. Once again, inhale to a flat back. Exhale, fold. And then inhale, pushing up, letting the hands come up high, palms come together, and then down to heart center. Let's move through some half sun salutations, as we often do when we start in our vertical position. Arms are by the sides, hands go up, gaze follows the fingers, palms turn away. We're going to fold forward, bending the knees. We get down to our fold. And we're going to stay here for several breaths, relaxing the head, the neck, and the shoulders. Take a deep inhale, complete exhale, and then inhale up to a flat back. Continue to breathe, nice and steady. Take a complete inhale. And on your next exhale, fold. And inhale all the way up. Hands come up over the head and then to heart center. Once again, arms by the sides, hands come up, palms touch, palms turn away. We're going to fold forward. Inhale to a flat back. Exhale, fold. And inhale all the way back up. Hands come to heart center and hands down by the sides. We're going to stand in our mountain pose here for a moment or two. Check to see that your feet are about hips width distance apart. And then in your mountain pose, let your palms face forward. Close your eyes. Take a moment to feel the weight in your feet. The weight in each foot should be about the same. And the weight should be evenly distributed front to back. Side to side. Focus on your breath for several breaths. Let the breath be even. Equal length inhale to exhale. Open the eyes. Let the palms come up high, palms touch, then the palms turn away. We're going to fold forward, plant the hands, and step both feet back into downward facing dog. Lift the right foot high and step it through, bringing the left knee down to the mat. In our low lunge, we're going to rise up. Hands are going to come to the thigh. Now, if balance is an issue for you here, one of the things you can do is make a motion, a kind of a scissoring motion, as if you were trying to bring the front heel and the back knee close to each other. There won't really be any movement, but you'll feel a scissoring action and a tightening in the inner hips. Let's bring the hands to heart center here and raise the arms up in our full expression of our low lunge. Now your gaze can be at the floor, straight ahead, or up toward the ceiling. Up toward the ceiling will be the most challenging for balance. Bring the hands back down to the thigh and slide that front foot back. You're really sliding your right hip back, stretching your front leg. As you exhale, come forward. Inhale, come back, leg stretches. Exhale, come forward. You might want to drop your hands down toward the floor. Inhale back. Exhale forward. Inhale back. Exhale forward. Now I see people make this motion where when they go back, their leg becomes perfectly straight. Mine will never, ever get there. Yours might. That would be really great if it did, but it might not, and that's okay. Okay, one more time. We're going to inhale back. Exhale forward. Very good. Now, the next thing I'm going to ask you to do could be a little bit challenging depending on how long your left arm is and how flexible you're feeling this morning. So you might want to place, I'm going to place my left fingers down on the mat. If you can't quite reach, that's okay. Keep them up. That's fine if you'd like to do it that way. Or find a block or a couple of books that you can rest them on. But once you've got that left hand down on the mat, take the right arm, swing it around behind the waist, binding, and then twist toward the bent leg, or the right leg. So it's not a big twist. Focus on your breath. If you find that your breath has accelerated, that you're breathing heavy, try and let the exhale slow down. And return back to center. Bring both hands down to the mat and bring the left knee back by the right knee back by the left knee. Curl the toes, let the hips come up and back, downward facing dog. Left leg lifts, left leg comes forward into our low lunge on this side. Right knee is back, left leg is forward. I come up, placing both hands on the thigh. Taking a moment just to get my balance and my foundation. Hands come to heart center. Arms rise up. Gaze goes up toward the ceiling. Bring the hands back down to the thigh. And once again, we're going to slide that left hip back, straightening the left leg, and then coming forward. Associating this with our breath, inhale, we slide back, exhale, forward. You might want to drop the hands to the mat. Exhale back, inhale forward. Inhale back. Exhale forward. I need to listen to what I'm saying. Inhale back. Exhale forward. Inhale back. Exhale forward. 2 more. Inhale back. Exhale forward. Last one. Inhale back. Exhale forward. Now we're going to do our twists. Right hand is going to come to the mat or maybe to a block or to a book. So I'm going to rest mine on my fingertips. Left arm will bind around behind the waist, and I'm going to twist over toward that bent leg, my left leg. And release. Bring both hands to the mat. Raise the knee on the right leg up off the mat, and then step that leg forward into a forward fold. However you can get up into your forward fold. Inhale to a flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, come all the way up. Arms come overhead, palms touch, and then they come to heart center. Bring your hands to your hips. We're going to move into warrior two by stepping the left foot back and keeping the right leg forward. Back foot is parallel to the short edge of the mat. Front knee bent. Straight line between the front heel and the back instep. Take a moment to feel your foundation, about equal weight in each foot. Bring the hands to heart center and twist over to your left a little bit before extending your arms out long. Arms are parallel to the mat. Gaze is out over the front fingertips. Warrior two can be a challenging pose to hold. We won't stay here very long. And that's a good time, especially, to focus on the breathing. Let the breath be calm. Feel the inhale and the exhale. Now we'll move to triangle pose. Straighten the front leg, extend the front fingertips out, and then begin to lean over that front hip, bringing the front arm down so that it touches the extended front leg. Back hand can raise up in the air, or it can bind back along the back of the waist. Gaze can be at the floor, straight ahead, or if you have your hand up in the air, it can be up at that raised hand. Come back up into your warrior two position with the arms out. Bring the hands to the hips and face the long edge of the mat in a wide-legged straddle pose here. Feet are out at 45-degree angles. We're going to move into our goddess position. Let the knees bend. Bring the arms to cactus arms. We'll move through a flow here. I'm going to straighten my right leg and extend my right arm up while bringing my left hand down to my left thigh or left knee. Then I'm going to move back into goddess. Other side, extending my left leg and left arm, bringing the right hand down to the right leg, and back to goddess. Inhale, extend, side bending over to the left. Exhale, back to goddess. Inhale, extend, side bending over to the right. Exhale, back to goddess. We'll move through this, letting the breath guide us. Inhale and extending. Exhale to goddess. Inhale, extend. Exhale to goddess. Move through this a couple more times. Do once more on each side. And stop. Bring the hands to the hips, straighten the legs. We'll move into warrior two on the other side. Right leg is back, right foot is parallel to the short edge of the mat. Left knee is bent. Hands to heart center, twist a little bit to the right, toward the back foot. Extend the arms out long, let the gaze be over the front fingertips. Let's move into our triangle pose. Straighten the front leg, extend the front fingers forward, tip over, letting the left hand come to the left leg and the right hand either rise up in the air or bind around behind the back. As we move into some of these positions that I think take more energy, be especially attentive to your breathing, slowing the breath down, especially the exhale, if you need to. Come back up into our warrior two position. Hands on hips, wide-legged straddle pose, again facing the long edge of the mat. This time the feet both face straight on to the long edge of the mat, so they're perpendicular to it. Extend the arms out in front, then turn the palms away from each other and bring the hands behind the back, interlacing the fingers and beginning to fold. Bend the knees as you fold. And when you get to a point where you don't think you can fold forward anymore, release the hands down to the mat. Let the head, neck, and shoulders relax and soften. Take a deep inhale and a complete exhale. And on your next deep inhale, slowly, along with the inhale, rise back up. Bring the hands to the hips and bring the feet back together from the top of the mat. Arms by the sides. Hands come up, palms touch. Palms turn away, we fold forward, plant the hands and drop the knees. Slide the hips back toward the heels. We're going to come into a seated position here, spin around. And let the legs go long. Don't cross your legs here. Hands are by the sides, arms out. Let the arms go up. Arms are parallel, palms face, and then begin to fold forward. Don't lock your knees as you do. Bend the knees as much as you need to. Once you get into your version of or seated forward fold, let the breath come naturally. Control your breathing. Come back up. Let the legs be wide. Now, bring the left leg, left foot into the right thigh. If you can't quite get it to the thigh, down on the shin is fine, on the calf. Take the left hand and bring it underneath the left leg. When I do this, my hand is down near my ankle. Right arm extends and comes back behind as a support behind the right hip. Left foot is flexed. I'm going to turn my body so that I'm twisting toward that extended leg. And then I'm going to turn my gaze back over the other shoulder, back over the left shoulder. So the right leg is long, left leg is bent. Right foot is flexed. Right arm supports. Gaze is over the left shoulder. Close your eyes in this position. And once again, focus on your breathing. Release, come back to center. Right arm comes back in front. We come back into our wide-legged seated position. Bring the right foot into the left thigh or left calf, whatever works for you today. Take your right hand and put it under that right leg. Again, mine is down near the ankle. Left hand spins around and becomes a support behind the left hip to hold the body up. The torso twists over toward the extended leg, that left leg, where the left foot is flexed. And then the gaze turns over the right shoulder. So my gaze is the opposite from the way my torso is twisting. Focus on your breathing. And come back to center. And make your way down to your back. On your back, bend your knees, let your feet be on the mat. Send the arms out away in T position or cactus arms. Lift the hips up off the mat just a little bit and slide them over to the left. Your feet might go over to the left a bit also. And then drop your knees to the right. You have the option of gazing out over your left fingertips. We'll stay here for a few breaths. And as we have done several times today, we'll focus on our own breathing while we relax into this pose. Bring the knees back up. Let the hips come back to center, and then lift the hips again and slide the hips to the right. Feet might slide to the right a bit before we drop the knees off to the left. Gaze might go over the right fingertips if that's not uncomfortable. That will enhance the stretch in the back. Close your eyes. Sink into the pose. And feel your breath. Bring the knees back up, center the hips. Let the palms go down by the heels. Bring the feet close to the torso. We're going to move through just a little flowing bridge pose here. We're going to begin by pushing into the feet, letting the hips come up. And then we're going to release them back to the mat. Inhale, hips come up. Let your inhale be as long as the hips move. Exhale, hips come down. Let the exhale be as long as the hips move. Inhale, hips up. Exhale, hips down. Once more, inhale, hips up. Exhale, hips down. Hug your knees into your chest. Gently rock side to side. Come to stillness, drop the feet to the mat. We'll move into our final resting pose of Shavasana. Let the feet go out long, arms by the sides. Palms can be up or down. Feet relax and fall away. Eyes are closed. Focus is on the breath. Just being content to be present, to be here. We'll relax in our Shavasana pose for several minutes. And as we did at the beginning of class, we'll let our breathing take over our focus. And if a thought comes into mind, we'll recognize it and watch it float away as we return our focus to the breath. Begin to deepen your breath, bringing your awareness back to the mat, to the room you're in, to the sounds and sensations that surround you. Bring some movement back into the body. Perhaps gently rock the body side to side. Open and close your fingers and your toes. Bend and flex your wrists and ankles. And when you're ready, roll over onto one side. And gently come up into a comfortable seated position. Let the arms be by the sides, eyes closed. On an inhale, Raise the arms up, bring the palms together overhead, and exhale, letting the hands come to heart center. May the sun bring you new happiness by day. May the moon softly restore you by night. May the rain wash away your worries and the wind blow new strength into your being. May you walk gently through the world and know its beauty. Namaste.